Big updates on Fabrizio Romano, Sasha Tavolieri, 90 min and more. Lavia, personal terms agreed with Liverpool, but Arsenal and Chelsea still expected to get involved with this deal. We have the latest on that for you today. Plus, we look at the Amrabat situation. Reports that he has rejected Liverpool, is close, very close indeed, to joining Manchester United after agreeing personal terms. Also taking a look at the Caicedo situation as well. Fabrizio Romano has a big update for us on that. Plus, we look at the situation with Conor Gallagher, a big bid in from West Ham, reportedly rejected, with Tottenham circling as well. We also saw a story the other day, and I'm very intrigued to go into this, about Michael Olise and another team in London maybe trying to hijack and get involved in this deal as well. All that and a little bit more on the Done Deal show this morning. Hit the like button right now. Make sure you get ready to leave your opinions in the comment section below. Let's do this. Has been one of those deals that all summer I feel we've been waiting for updates. We've been waiting for the direction this deal is going in. There's been two major updates in the last 5 to 6 hours regarding this deal. The first here comes from Fabrizio Romano, as you can see, and it says that Liverpool have been in contact with the agent of Lavia for 2 weeks, still ongoing. He's high on their list, considered as a top talent in his position. Sources expect Liverpool to open talks with Southampton soon, and there will be competition from Arsenal and Chelsea. So that is what Fabrizio Romano reports on this, and it's very important. We all know how knowledgeable he is, how accurate he is. Chelsea and Arsenal are still involved. It's interesting as well, because Sasha Tavolieri, who is an expert on these matters, has stated that Liverpool have reportedly agreed personal terms with Lavia to seal the summer transfer. It goes on to state here, and I want to make sure I read this in its entirety, that and a hopefully £35 million bid is enough to tempt Southampton into selling. According to Belgian journalist Sasha Tavolieri, Lavia had grown a little annoyed that Liverpool were taking so long with their approach, but he is now said to have agreed on personal terms with the Reds, and Liverpool will launch their first bid soon. So a slightly different version of events from Sasha Tavolieri compared that to Fabrizio Romano. However, Fabrizio, as I've said before, I think the reason why he gets so much information, he's so accurate and he's so good, is because of his relationships with clubs. And he ensures that essentially he doesn't hang anybody out to dry. Where Sasha Tavolieri is reporting on things from a Belgium perspective. That is what he's doing. And I think for me, he's essentially stating what the camp of Lavia are saying rather than what Liverpool are saying. Liverpool will probably not claim personal terms are agreed or to be more advanced than Arsenal or Chelsea until they are adamant they're going to get him, because that's typically how the clubs report on this information. That's just my theory, but I want to know yours below. Where is he going to end up? I really want to ascertain and understand your opinion on this. Now, staying with Liverpool's midfield, what's very, very intriguing is we all know, I tweeted this out last night, we know this is the truth, that as of right now, Amrabat to Man United is advanced and close. It is reported by many credible outlets that he has agreed personal terms with Manchester United, that he wants the move to Old Trafford. Many reports out of Italy yesterday claim that the deal between the clubs is very close. There may not have been an official bid as of now, but typically the official bids go in and get accepted as the negotiations get done via intermediaries. 3 to 5 million euros right now is the differential. And there's talk of the base cost of Amrabat only being 19 million pounds. Only being 19 million pounds for Manchester United, which is a phenomenal piece of business. meaning the combined base total for Mount and Amrabat, who will dramatically improve our midfield compared to that of Fred and McTominay, will cost £74 million in totality. Now, if you go back to the World Cup, if teams would have bid £50 million for Amrabat, maybe more, they would have been happy. We saw the qualities of this player there. We saw the qualities of him in Serie A. We saw it in their European run. We saw it in the final against West Ham as well. Top talent indeed. And I think to put a little bit of icing, sugar, a cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake for Man United fans is the report that Liverpool tried to sign Amrabat and he said no to them and picked Manchester United. Now, this hasn't come from Man United press. It's come from the Italian press. So for me, as a United fan, I'm going to be shameless and I'm going to take this as gospel and say it's absolutely true. And I wouldn't be surprised. They've been heavily linked with Amrabat for large parts of the summer. And it's good to see again, just like with Mount, just like with Højlund, just like with Onana, lots of other top teams in for these players that we are buying. So I want your feelings, I want your opinions, I want your thoughts on that in the comments section below. Now, we mentioned earlier that somebody could be coming in to try and hijack the situation for Olise. Now, this story comes from 90 Min, who claim here that Arsenal are ready to rival Chelsea for Michael Olise. Now, we know that Arsenal are looking at additional attackers. So it would make sense to look at someone like Olise. He's available for £35 million, which I think is cheap for a highly talented, Premier League proven football player. 35 million. It's because of a release clause. It isn't because of great negotiating from anybody, but it's, well, the agent, I suppose, of Olise. But 35 million in 2023 is cheap for a player of his ability, his potential, his age, and where he has played football for the past few years. According to 90 Min, Man City are also keen on the 21-year-old who reportedly has a release clause of 35 million. City see Olise as the perfect replacement for the Saudi Arabia-bound Riyad Mahrez, whilst the Gunners are keen to finalize their summer business with a right-sided attacker. We also know that Arsenal were looking at Mohamed Kudus and a few other players as well have been named, but there could be a hijack on here as well. Arsenal fans, I want your opinions. Do you rate this kid? Would you like him at the Emirates Stadium next season? Now, I want to move on to Chelsea and back to something that Fabrizio Romano has said. It's been posted here by Simon Phillips, but it is a quote from Fabrizio Romano. And he claims here that Moises Caicedo really wants to move. So let's see how he will act in the next few days. I can guarantee the negotiations are ongoing and it's not over. So this is almost a challenge to what Jacob Steinberg said yesterday, that the deal is at an impasse, that the deal is at deadlock. It's kind of stuck and that Brighton are going to push this until deadline day. Fabrizio is suggesting that the talks are more ongoing, more open, and in a very different situation. He says, I know Chelsea fans are getting impatient, but he wants to join Chelsea as his priority, and they are working. And I think that we asked the Chelsea fans on the Top 6 show last night, are you worried? Are you concerned? Are you frustrated by the way this deal is panning out? And they all seemed, there's three of them on the show by this point. We had Don, David, and Roy, and they were all very relaxed. And I think when you listen to what Fabrizio's saying here, and I've said all along, by the way, there's two sides to this story. There's the side that Brighton are feeding, and there's the side that Chelsea or the Caicedo camp are feeding. Chelsea and Caicedo's side is very much the player wants the club. That's his priority. The club want to get it done. We're negotiating hard. The deal should get done. You've got the Brighton side, though, which is almost, we're frustrated. Chelsea are not offering enough money. We're happy to keep the player. It's nowhere near done. And you don't often get this. You don't often get this from the same media. And what I mean by that is the British media are like a 50-50 split on what side they're reporting on. You sometimes get it where the British media says one thing and the Italian press says another. Or the French press is saying one thing and the Turkish media is saying another. But very rarely within the same region or country is there such a divide in a transfer story, which makes this intriguing. I get it's frustrating because Chelsea fans want him in. The season starts in just over 2 weeks. We have to deep that, people. 2 weeks, Premier League football, just over 2 weeks is back. And Chelsea's first game is Liverpool. I know they're going to want to get this done. But according to Fabrizio, it's still alive. So listen, give us your thoughts and feelings below. Chelsea are also in the process here of selling Conor Gallagher, and Fabrizio gives us an update on the situation. He says that Chelsea have rejected West Ham's first bid, remember that, for Conor Gallagher, 40 million with add-ons. After discussing internally and also with Pochettino, Chelsea decided to reject. West Ham maintain an interest, but Chelsea want 50 million to sell Conor Gallagher. 50 million. And this is the thing. So what I was saying to people a couple of weeks ago, you have to read the market. I don't know how many years now I've had these conversations on the terrace when people say so-and-so is not worth X. Well, if Conor Gallagher goes for 50 million pounds, Mason Mount was worth 55. Because whether you think Mason Mount's brilliant or average, he's better than Conor Gallagher. Equally, as the Man United fan, I'm looking at this deal and I'm saying, listen, if we're not getting 45 million for Scott McTominay, who, yes, is a little older, but is better than Conor Gallagher, there's something wrong here. And if Chelsea get 50 million for him, fair play. But he isn't half as good as Declan Rice. It's a madness from West Ham. It really, really is. They're better off paying 70, 80 million pound for Paulinho, personally. I don't think Conor Gallagher is that good, especially if you're trying to progress your team. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comment sections below. But that deal is on. Now, I did mention at the top that Spurs are interested in this as well. Now, Fabrizio hasn't reported on this, but other outlets have. And the story that I read this morning, and I want to go find it again here, and I now can't find it because that's typically what ends up happening when you need to speak about something. But I did read that this morning, and it is out there. You'll be able to find it on the internet somewhere that Spurs believe that they are actually leading the race for Conor Gallagher. So Spurs want him as well. That's a really interesting fight between two real bitter rivals in West Ham and Tottenham. But where do you think he's going to end up? Personally, listen, Spurs are a bigger club than West Ham. They are. Bigger resource, more budget, better stadium, marginally. But West Ham just did win a trophy. West Ham did just win a trophy and a European one to boot. So, look, where does he end up? I want to get your opinions. I'm going to go with Spurs on this. I'm going to go with Spurs, personally. That's my guess. I want to know what you think below. Until next time, everybody, look after yourselves. Be lucky. Take care. Hit the like button before you go. Leave your comments. And, of course, go check out our TikTok account. Scan the QR code or click on the link in our description below. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you again